Okay, these would be our main types of notation. And then the third one, if we want to use it, if maybe there's a specific symbol beat that you want, this is right out of the Berkeley book, where you have, this is like a combination thing where you have time slashes to indicate the bars going by, but then you might have a specific symbol rhythm that you want to get across. So this is like, you could do something like this. If you have a specific cymbal rhythm that you want to hear on either the hi-hat or the ride cymbal, um, I'm going to say that this is the ride cymbal. Then whatever else is happening on the kit, that's up to the drummer to decide. But you've got their cymbal rhythm kind of written out for them as a guide. I mean, they're going to vary it. No drummer is ever going to play exactly what you write for them. I guarantee it. If it does, for one thing, it's going to sound boring as hell. So, so you're giving them a guideline. Remember that. You're not telling them exactly what to do ever. That's not the nature of the drums. Um, Unless you're writing like a classical type of piece for drum set, where everything is orchestrated in a really specific way. Um, so let's call this number 3. We'll call it specific symbol pattern. Now, in terms of how to make this work with MuseScore, that's a little tricky. Um, in my experiments with exploring doing drum notation on MuseScore, it's a little bit limited and frustrating in certain ways. And so I would not be averse to, uh, if you do your score on MuseScore, I would not be averse to you leaving the drum part blank. You can actually delete or hide like if you leave the bars blank, what you're left with is whole note rests. And there's a way that you can hide those rests so that when you print the sheet out, you don't see them. And then you could actually write the drum part in by hand if you want, if you find that easier. Um, because one of the frustrating things for me is that you can't combine these types of notation. What I would like to be able to do in an ideal world is to combine them, because I might have a specific beat that I want to write out, like number 1, and then I might want to revert to that basic time notation with those kicks once that main beat has been established. And I can't really do that on MuseScore easily. Um, there are ways you could do it. One would be to not use a drum clef, but to use an actual clef, like use a bass clef staff or a treble clef staff, and then just do it would be time consuming to do it this way. But at least when you write out an actual specific beat, you usually only have to write 1 or 2 bars of it, and then you can kind of just use repeat bars. Um, so anyway, I'm going to explore a little bit more, do a little bit more experimenting with MuseScore, and I'll let you know what my findings are, um, because it's not totally ideal. Okay, so now what I want to do, um, and we're sort of short on time now to do this, but I think we have enough time. Uh, I mean, in theory, the class goes till 3, but really we usually only go till 10 to. But what I was thinking we would do that I thought could be fun was, um, looking at the specific type of drum notation, and we want to get used to sort of writing in this way, I thought we would sort of go into um, breakout rooms. I'm just going to stop showing you my iPad screen there. And in groups of 3 or 4 or whatever it works out to, um, I'm going to give you one of the iconic drum beats that I'm sure everybody knows. Um, okay, let me just address this question here. So in the second type, we'd ask the drummer to play any groove that fits the style. Yeah, we're basically leaving it up to them to come up with something. You know, it's like you'll give them something like medium rock shuffle or, fast swing or, whatever, something like that that gives them a broad um, kind of scope to work with. And yeah, they'll just come up with something. Um, so that could be a great way of doing drum notation if you don't have a really specific part in mind, because it's basically saying, I trust the drummer to be a better drummer than me, and come up with something that's way better than anything I would come up with. All right, so what I'm going to do here is, for those of you that don't have um, staff paper handy, I'm going to put a little PDF in the chat here. This is just blank staff paper. Hang on, let me see if I can do this. I should be able to do this. Or maybe not. No, it's not letting me do it. Ah, why is that? Oh, maybe I have to. There we go. That worked. Okay, just in case you don't have easy access to staff paper, there's a PDF of blank staff paper that you can print out if it's easy enough to do that. So, and then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send you this link, and this is everybody, I'm sure everybody knows this. Um, give me one sec. If we don't finish this today, it's okay. We'll come back to it. Oops. Hold on. That's not what I meant to do. Yeah, exactly. It's that one. So this is John Bonham's um, iconic beat from When the Levee Breaks, which has been sampled by I don't know how many hip hop artists. It's just one of the most well-known drum beats in the world. Um, so what I want you to do is I'm going to break you into groups, and I want you to sort of assign one person between you. You can decide to sort of do the actual notating, but you want to sort of figure out how to notate this in using standard drum notation. So it'll be a conversation that you have amongst yourselves, and I'll kind of float around from group to group and see how everybody's making out. But really, um, it's a 1 bar groove. It's a 1 bar loop. So you really only have to write it once. And I picked this one because what I'm thinking about here is the optimal zone of challenge. I want to push you outside of your comfort zone slightly, but not too much. So um, there's basically 3 instruments involved here. It's a hi-hat, closed hi-hat, and snare drum and bass drum. And what the hi-hat and the snare drum are doing are very straightforward. The thing that is a little bit tricky in terms of writing the rhythm out and deciphering the rhythm is the bass drum part. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. There's 22 of you. So if I do this, yeah, so I'm going to create 5 breakout rooms. That'll give us 4 to 5 people per room, and just sort of talk through this. Like I said, assign one person in some kind of semi-democratic way to do the actual notating, um, and uh, and see if you can figure this out. Just you're going to write basically 1 bar of John Bonham's groove using standard specific drum notation, and I'll sort of float around from room to room and see how everybody's making out. So here we go.